open ports. Let's open Maya port. And just copy all this. Send Maya. That looks good Maya. And we have a button.
This button just makes a new one. I don't know why it spawns the first one in. Welcome to my presentation. I have used what I've learned and made this. I know, groundbreaking. But considering the amount I knew before this module, that's relatively impressive, as there's a lot happening behind the scenes. But first, let's go over the concept. The original concepts came from years ago whilst watching this video, where the creator used Blender's render engine to create lenses and a realistic camera. But it was all done manually, and I thought this could be simplified and made easier for people to use. So, like a lot of my projects, when I had some free time, I made the thing in Blender. And as this whole thing is being run on Maya, which I won't install because it's a literal virus, I was using the Unity computers, and it turns out, for some reason, on the Tuesday, I don't have access to the Unity computers. So, on some random Tuesday, I decided to make my entire project in Blender in a single day. And that's what I did, and this is what came out of it. So it may not look as pretty, but it does the same job, and it does it as well. And the results speak for themselves. You can make some pretty trippy looking stuff with this. So each one of these lenses inside the camera lens is one of these green nodes. And each one of these green nodes can be edited to edit the lens inside to have a different effect on the image. Anyway, onto coding for Maya. These are the main functions from Maya we're going to be using. To put it simply, the curve function allows you to build a curve using points positions provided in the function itself. And then we have the revolve function. The revolve function is very simple. It takes a curve you've made and extrudes it while spinning it at the same time. So here's a simplified view of what's going on inside. We start off with just points of the curve, the main control points. Then we move into a function that will take points and create the points for the handles. Then the next functions are when we start to customize all the points and transform them. Then we repackage it for Maya so it can read it properly. Then we throw those points into the curve and revolve, and then we profit. I also made two custom tools just to do math a little easier. There is addv and an add sublist. So addv is for doing an operation to a vector or a list with another vector or just another number. I had this problem because whenever I wanted to add a number to a vector, it would add on to the list instead of adding it to each number individually. So I did this. Plus, it also made sure it worked that if you had two vectors, instead of adding them to the same list, they would add on top of each other, as the second example shows. Basically, I made Blender's addition and operations in code. Add sublist was a tool that I built for editing a specific value inside of a vector inside a vector. So you have like a bunch of points and you want to edit the Y value of one of them. This is what that's for. So this example here, we're trying to add 10 to the ID of 0, 1. So we would go to the index, the first list, and then inside that list we will go to the second one, and then we would add 10 to it. Coding done. Time to reflect. So the outcome of this isn't too impressive. It's just a button that does spawns an object and a slider that doesn't do anything. But the amount of stuff I've learnt is pretty impressive. I've gone from knowing how to like do hello world and some like basic if statements to fully integrating something into Maya, which is pretty good. If I were to come back and do this again, it'll probably, well, I would have a massive advantage because I have the knowledge. Most of this is just learning, which is what it should be. It's a uni after all. I would have, yeah, a massive advantage. But I feel like I would have told myself either pick something ridiculously simple, because coding is more fundamental, way more things can go wrong, and you will be debugging most of the time. And it's done significantly differently from the way I usually quote-unquote code in Blender. As was it when I was originally starting this project, the only I was thinking in my Blender GeoNodes mindset and thinking, how long would that actually take me in GeoNodes? And then think, well, it's Python, right? You could do way more stuff with Python, so it might be faster. That was the logic. And then, reality hit, as usual. Yeah, we definitely focused on less of the classes, because I found that a lot of the classes were way too broad, and most of the stuff I learnt in there I didn't use anyway. So I think a better idea would have just been to knuckle down, get online, start learning. Although it would have been helpful if there was more information on Maya's documentation other than just their documentation. There's no tutorials or anything about it, which is a bit disappointing, but honestly not very surprising. As far as feedback goes, when it came, it was helpful, although you might have to wait an hour or so, which is a bit annoying considering it was in the same call, but hey ho. It did come, and when it was there, it was sometimes fairly helpful. Sometimes. And it's nice having another brain involved, another set of eyes that's not contaminated by I'm always better sort of logic. Yeah. Because when you're stuck in the rut and you're trying to think of all the different ways it could go wrong, and you just start overcomplicating things, and then you don't see, oh, I made a spelling mistake. That'll be why. And as far as incorporating Blender into this, even though it's not marked, well, for one, at the time it was either do that or do absolutely nothing at all, as I was using the uni's computers remotely because I didn't want to install Maya because it's a virus and all, and they weren't open. I couldn't get access to them on the Tuesday, so for that day I just said, screw it, I'm going to do it on Blender. So I went and did it on Blender, and I know it very well, so I did it very quickly. And yeah, it was definitely a concept thing. I got a couple people to try and poke at it, test it. Seemed fairly stable, didn't break too much, and it's nice to get the idea proving and working. Although before that, when we were coming up with ideas, I did do a quick pinhole test, which is basically you get a box, you put a very small hole in it, and then you just whack up the exposure, and it works fairly well. I did it in both Blender and Maya. I gotta say, I think the Maya did slightly better, but only slightly, because Maya's default settings work fairly well with pinholes. Blender's you need to tweak them a little. Had a weird sampling effect where it would only has like a adaptive sampling. So if it doesn't spot noise there, e.g. it's pitch black, because there's no samples there, it won't sample there anymore. So you get this weird effect. Like a fractal effect. It's kind of cool. Now in the module handbook it says something about theory and practice. And it's relating to the industry's theory and how things should work and what you actually did. But I guess you could also be inspired to think that what your theory was at the start compared to what actually happened at the end. And my theory was this will be hard, interesting, and we'll run into a lot of bugs, but it's possible. Which, mostly true, yeah. Except, it was very hard. There wasn't much information on it. And it didn't get finished. Possible, though. So, yeah, mostly. As far as industry goes, I don't really know very well how the industry would do what I did, as it's very out there. I guess the only quote-unquote industry that's anywhere close to what I did is the video that inspired this, which did it manually with no coding. So I guess I did everything wrong, or did it very differently. And as far as like coding practices go, the first week was very helpful for learning how to code and stuff, and yeah, I think I went pretty well. I followed most of the conventions and stuff using classes to like store information. I didn't use many global. I don't think I used any global variables, but it mostly works. Mostly, there's still quite a few bugs in it. And there's one deep rhythm bug to do with that slider that goes to the core of one of my tools, and I can't be bothered to fix it since I found it a couple of days ago. Anyway, I got about 30 seconds of time to kill, so let's go through everything I went through all at once. Hit it!
Alright. Back, relax, and let's hit it again. While you go tell your mother, father, cousin, and kin, and your other friends that don't even have a clue what this Doo crew is about to do. You know it ain't fool's gold, this is kryptonite. Super MCs freeze when I hit the mic, right? EFF is the AKA. I keep it popping like bubble WRAP. And if you don't know by now, then listen up, stupid. CSWS came to do it. Got more